All right. Well, good evening. So glad that you came back tonight. Just some announcements to bring to your attention. Men, there will be no prayer meeting for you guys in the morning because nobody's going to be here. So don't come to it. All right. Next, parents, we are having the baby dedication next Sunday for Mother's Day. If you have a child 2 years or younger that you would like to dedicate to the Lord, that will be, make sure you sign up by today. Also, next Sunday is Mother's Day, and we are going to be collecting a Mother's Day offering for one more child, so just to make you aware of that. And then lastly, in 2 weeks on Sunday, May 17th, we will have our centennial celebration. It is going to be starting in here at 9 o'clock. It's going to be a wonderful time. We're going to have music. We're going to have Brother Alan Moore is going to come preach. We've got lunch. We've got a group that's going to be singing. It's going to be all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you plan on being here and invite somebody as we celebrate 100 years of God's faithfulness to our church. Let's pray together. Dear Lord, we just thank you for all you do for us. We thank you for this day that you've given us. We thank you for the ability just to worship you and to celebrate you. And we just pray you are glorified in all that we do, Lord. We just pray you to be in the songs we sing, the message we hear, Lord, and we just give you the praise. In Jesus' name, amen. And bless you. That was great timing, by the way. I tell you. Let's go ahead and stand together. We're going to sing a couple songs tonight, starting with hymn 616, A New Name and Glory. I was once a sinner, but I came, pardon to receive from my Lord. This was freely given, and I found that he always kept his word. There's a new name written down in glory, and it's mine, oh yes, it's mine. And the white-robed angels sing the story, a sinner has come home, for there's a new name written down in glory. And it's mine, oh yes, it's mine. With my sins forgiven, I am bound for heaven, never more to roam. I was humbly kneeling at the cross, fearing not but God's angry frown. When the heavens opened and I saw that my name was written down, there's a new name written down in glory, and it's mine, oh yes, it's mine. And the white-robed angels sing the story, a sinner has come home, for there's a new name written down in glory, and it's mine, oh yes, it's mine. With my sins forgiven, I am bound for heaven, never more to roam. In the book 'tis written, saved by grace, oh the joy that came to my soul. Now I am forgiven, and I know by the blood I am made whole. There's a new name written down in glory, and it's mine, oh yes, it's mine. And the white-robed angels sing the story, a sinner has come home, for there's a new name written down in glory, and it's mine, oh yes, it's mine. With my sins forgiven, I am bound for heaven, never more to roam. All right, continue singing hymn 618. 618, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. All right, you may have a seat. Well, we are in for a special tonight. Got a couple of young ladies who are going to come up here and sing for us. So.
I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe the only thing that matters now is everything you think of me. In you I find my worth, in you I find my identity. Ooh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. Oh, I believe. Taking all I have and now I'm laying it at your feet. You'll have every failure, God. You'll have every victory. Ooh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. When I don't belong, oh, you say I'm yours.
right. Yeah, what a blessing. This evening we're going to be in Proverbs chapter 14. We're going to march through it rather quickly because it's a lot, and it's a continuation of basically where we've been over the last few weeks of just, hey, here is wisdom. Here's what it looks like to follow God. Here's how you become a person of wisdom, just in general. And so, I'll just be honest. Proverbs was always one of those books where I would catch one thing here and one thing there, but never really spend a whole lot of time studying it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like Psalms. Psalms is, it's for a moment when you feel a certain thing. You hear one psalm, or if you're doing a funeral, or something like that. But when you take time and you put them all together, and you slowly and methodically read through what it is it's, I wrote it down so I would not say it incorrectly. It's wisdom that is not simply what a person knows, but it's the path that they walk, it's the words that they speak, it's the fruit of their life. It's wisdom is knowledge applied, right? You can know all kinds of stuff, but if you don't put it into practice, if you never actually do it, it really doesn't matter. So as we go through these, it's a lot. It's just a lot of information there. And what's okay here is that as you're going through all of this stuff, that you don't retain all of it. Because some of it is going to mean more to you in this moment than other times or other things, right? Some of it right now, you're going to hear it, or you're going to read it, or you're going to think about it, and you're like, that's what I need to do. That's the situation that I'm facing. That's the problem that I'm having. And then some of it you're going to be like, okay, good. It's a general life principle. And that's okay, because you know what you're going to do is later on or at another time, you're going to go through those Proverbs again, and you're going to read it, and you're like, I needed that one. I needed that information right now. I needed to know that. I need to live that. And what this is that you take God's wisdom that's being written down and preserved for you, inspired by the Holy Spirit, so that you can take it now and walk into life tomorrow as a person who is displaying wisdom, is exhibiting wisdom in their life, that is applying the knowledge that you've been given. So as we go through this, I'm not going to read it all at the beginning because it's a lot, but let's kind of move through these rather quickly. Verse 1, let's see. The wisest of women builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. So you have this idea of wisdom just over and over again. You're going to come back to this circle just over and over again about wisdom. Something just to kind of think while we're going through this is the understanding that wisdom is not far off. Wisdom is not a hidden thing in a temple that you have to go through the rainforest to explore with machetes and get to and find. That wisdom is there for you now. Wisdom is ready for you. Wisdom is laid bare in front of you. All you have to do is read it and apply it. So when it says this, the wisest woman builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. Wisdom is constructive, it's constructing, and folly is not neutral. It is actively tearing down all that God's wisdom intends to flourish. It's not that you can be a person of folly and just kind of, it's no big deal. What we've seen over and over and over again in the book of Proverbs is that what you do in your life matters not just for you, but for those that are around you, for those that you interact with, those in your family. What you do in this life with the time that you have will have repercussions and ripples on down the generations. But also those people that are around you right now are going to be affected by that. If you are a person that is foolish and waste your time and is gossiping and causing division and tearing things apart, it's not just that that's going to harm you. It's going to harm everybody that's around you. And those generations that come after you will look back and be like, I am so glad I'm not like whoever. Man, I hate that I have that in my lineage. There are things that I have in my lineage, like I figured I probably would not stay married, 21 years now. I think Natalie, she had to think about it too, so I'm okay. I'm off the hook. We're both running on little sleep most of the time, so you have to forgive us with numbers and memory. But I really figured I should never get married because I come from a family where my history is all divorce. Everybody's divorced and been divorced and then re-divorced and all of those things. And so it put it in my mind that I should not be why would I do that? I'm way more likely to take this as a thing. I think I'm saved because Natalie's parents are, never divorced. They're hanging in there. But there's these things that as you look back, you want to be a person that those that come after you can look to for wisdom and strength. That they can look to and say, man, they held it together, they held it down, and they followed Christ with everything in their life. So wisdom is constructive. Folly is not just simply a neutral thing. It is actively destroying things. Verse 2, whoever walks in uprightness fears the Lord, but he who is devious in his ways despises him. The fear of the Lord is revealed by your life. Crooked living reveals a heart that disregards God. So often we think that you're going to do something that's just going to show in one thing. But what it really is that your life overall reveals who you are. You can try to wear masks and hide your ways as much as you want, but it's going to be borne out. There's no hiding it. There's no getting away from it. There are cracks that happen in that facade that we build. And eventually, who we really are is demonstrated. It reveals itself. It's showcased. So the answer to that is, hey, don't think you can fake it, because eventually you ain't going to make it, right? Be who you really are and be a wise person. Verse 3, by the mouth of a fool comes a rod for his back, but the lips of the wise will preserve them. Foolish speech not only has consequences, but it invites them. Wisdom guards the tongue because words bring harm or preservation. My handwriting is bad, sorry. But like what you say has consequences. And if you speak foolishly, if you as a fool speak, it's going to invite harm into your life. It's not just that you can say things and it doesn't matter. Those things that you say, they have real world consequences for yourself and for those around you. And they will bring harm on you. And the other side of that is that wisdom protects this thing. You're so much more wise if you'll just keep your mouth shut. I mean, just every time. If you will just not say the thing that you really want to say. There's a comedian I really enjoy. His name's Nate Bargatze. And he talks about this one time when he was right in a fight with his wife. And he knew he was right. And he says that he could not sleep. He woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. He woke his wife up to make sure that he could get into that argument again because he knew he had that thing. You can be right or you can be happy is usually how it goes. But the reality is protecting yourself from this thing, keeping your mouth closed more than it's open, will do you so much good. Continuing on, verse 4, it says, where there are no oxen, the manger is clean, but abundant crops come by the strength of an ox. I love this because it's so practical. You can have a clean house. We had chickens, and we had all the stuff that goes around with chickens. And you know what chickens and all the stuff that goes along with that is? Dirty. It's kind of smelly. It's not super fun. You got to deal with snakes and other animals or whatever. You're always cleaning up chicken poo. It's just part of it. We used to let them free range, and we realized that we really didn't like cleaning up chicken poop inside the house all the time, so we put them in a pen. But the reality is, you know how we had fresh eggs all the time? Is because of all that mess that was out there. When we went out and we had our garden, the reason that we were able to grow okra, which is about, I think, the main, if we lived on okra, we'd be in good shape. But the reason that we were able to do that is because we caused a mess to get to that point. It was difficult. It had consequences around everything that was happening. You can have a clean space and not have anything to eat and not be productive. If your only top priority is just keeping everything clean and organized at all times, you're not really going to get the stuff that you have to be useful. Now, that's not saying just make a mess, who cares? That's not saying be disorganized, but it's saying watch your priorities. Pay attention to how you're living this life, because if everything is about looks, you're not going to be a very productive person in reality. A faithful witness, verse 5, does not lie, but a false witness breathes out lies. Truthfulness demonstrates integrity. Lies are not accidental. They are intentionally meant to deceive. Lies are not something that you just kind of fall into. You make a decision on whether you're going to tell the truth or whether you're going to lie. It doesn't happen by, just, I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, they thought that I was this thing and I'm not that thing. Or they thought I had gone to that and I had never actually gone to that. We intentionally use our words to deceive people. It overflows out of a heart that desires to be dishonest. We have to be careful with that. We cannot represent Christ and be people of dishonesty. It just doesn't work. Verse 6, a scoffer seeks wisdom in vain, but knowledge is easy for a man of understanding. Wisdom is freely available, however, pride blocks understanding. Wisdom is out there. Wisdom is ready for you. However, if you are a person of pride who will never let anybody give you any instruction, you are going to miss out on so much wisdom. You're not going to ever hear it because you're so worried about somebody telling you something, about somebody being smarter than you. I have figured out the best thing in my life is to acknowledge and understand that there are so many people out there that are smarter than me, and just being okay with it. I figured if I'm the average, if I'm a C student, average kind of person of intelligence and whatever, that means that 50% of people out there are smarter than me. It means 50% are dumber than me too, and I can still feel good about myself. But just the reality is, you have to be willing to accept the fact that there are people that know more than you. Don't be someone who will not accept anybody else's instruction. Don't be someone who always has to have the word. Don't be someone who always has to speak their wisdom into something. Receive wisdom from other people. It's waiting for you. It's out there. Sometimes you just got to shut your mouth and let somebody else talk. Sometimes that's harder for some of us than it is for others. I'm guilty of that one. In verse 7, leave the presence of a fool, for there you do not meet words of knowledge. I love how practical that is. Every conversation is not worth having. Don't entrust your time or direction to fools. Walk away from unfruitful conversations. If you get into a position where you're allowing foolish people to influence you, to monopolize your time, to give you direction on what you should do with your life, you will become a fool. You are demonstrating foolishness. Don't be a fool. Take your business, your time, your whatever elsewhere. Don't let somebody that you don't want to be like influence you. You ever think about that? If you want to be a really good golfer and you go out to the golf course and there's a guy that's fishing all of his balls out of the water hazard, you're going to go like, hey, can I have you give me lessons? You seem like, you're out here a lot. Like, no, you want to go to the guy that he hits the ball and it's just like, swing, whoosh, and you just hear the air ripping around it. It's just beautiful. I don't play golf, but I know what that sounds like. You go to the person that's actually doing the thing that you want to do. You spend your time around people that you want to become like. That's one of the wisest things you can do, is stop giving your time to fools. That has a lot to say in person. That even has more to say with these these guys right here, and those televisions at home. Be careful what you allow to influence you, what you give your time to. Verse 8 says, the wisdom of the prudent is to discern his way, but the folly of fools is deceiving. It is wise to evaluate life's paths. It's wise to think through what you're going to do. It's wise to take a step and wait. Consider what the next step is going to be. Don't rush into everything. Don't feel like you have to be the only one that can make everything work. Take a beat, think about things, consider it, might even say pray about it, and then move forward. Consider the paths of your life. Don't just rush through things. I think so often in my own life, I spend a lot of time just trying to get through things. I spent a lot of time in school, specifically, just trying to get through it. I didn't really want the information. I didn't want the knowledge. I just wanted to be done with it. And I missed out on a lot of really good information. I've missed out on a lot of stuff because I was rushing through to get to the next thing. Stop, slow down, think. Don't rush. Verse 9, fools mock at the guilt offering, but the upright enjoy acceptance. It is a foolish thing to treat sin lightly. Sin is serious and requires repentance. When he's talking about the guilt offering, if you'll just take a moment, when you're considering doing the wrong thing, sin, whatever it is, if you'll just think about what that sin cost, what it really matters. I remember I really like Snickers bars. I used to eat a Snickers bar almost every day, but I also wanted to lose weight and get back in shape. And I was like, you know what? Every time I eat this Snickers bar, it's like 280 calories or 340. I don't forget what it was. But I was like, I might as well just be shoving a stick of butter in my mouth. You know, I mean, realistically, it's about the same thing. And so it's like, well, if I don't really care about that thing, then I'm just going to continue to do what I want to. But when I start caring about what it costs, what it means, what it matters, if you don't take sin lightly, you're going to be less likely to sin. You're going to think about it. You're going to think about what it cost. Verse 10 says, the heart knows its own bitterness, and no stranger shares its joy. You may never know the bitterness or joy of another. It is unwise to assume the inclination of another's heart. You will never know someone else's motivations or motives, and it is foolish to spend all of your time acting as if you do know that or trying to decide what somebody else's motivations are. You have to be just understanding that you know what you're doing. How many of you struggle with your own stuff? Like your own bitterness or joy or motivations? Like, I am barely getting that, figuring out who I am. It's really not wise for me to try to decide what everybody else's reason for doing what they do is. You're not going to know it. Be careful in always trying to assume that, and know that even as much as you can know somebody, people are complex. Most of you have probably realized that by now. People are people, and it's a complex thing to deal with people. It's not all black and white. There's a lot of weird stuff that you're going to deal with. Figure out how to walk alongside someone, how to love somebody, how to be a friend, even when you don't understand everything that somebody's dealing with. Verse 11, the house of the wicked will be destroyed, but the tent of the upright will flourish. I like this one because it puts it right in there. Appearances of success can be misleading. If your success is built, I don't know what that. Oh, okay. If your success is built on wickedness, it will be short-lived. I was having a real hard time deciphering my own handwriting there. If you can build something that looks very successful, whether that be in your own life with financial stuff, whether that be in your church with stuff, whether that be in your parenting, I mean, all kinds of stuff. You can build a monument to your success that the reality is not quite there. The reality is something far different. I think about the Pharisees. By all of life's standards, they were very successful. They were prominent. They had money. They dressed really cool. You know, they had all the stuff that everybody would want. But what does Jesus say about them? The inside is dead men's bones. They are sepulchres. They are whitewashed tombs. We can do the same thing. Hypocrisy is an easy thing to fall into. He says the tent of the upright will flourish. He's saying you may only have a tent. You may not have the house. You may just have a tent. But it will flourish when you're upright. It's the Lord that actually does something for you, rather than you being reliant on your own ability to sell yourself on things. Verse 12, there is a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. Verse 12 is one that we probably are all pretty familiar with. Sincerity does not equal truth. You ever really think about that? There are a lot of sincerely wrong people in this world. We're going to get to the point eventually where we talk about world religions and stuff. I'm kind of working through Proverbs before we get there. But when we get to some stuff about world religions, you're going to recognize pretty quickly that there are some very, very sincere people that are wrong and are extremely wrong. Your sincerity, no matter how hard you believe something, it does not make it right. We have a standard by which we must live and understand. I think I wrote, make sure I put that down. God's way is truth, and we must align our ways with Him. Rather than us saying, God, you need to conform to the way that I think things are or should be, that we see what He has said and we conform our lives to Him in all ways. That's hard. That's a difficult thing. There are some things that God says that I should do that I don't necessarily love, that are harder for me. But it would be insane for me to say, God, you should do the way that I want it to be done. You should change your ways. You know everything, but also, I'm here. There's a way that seems right, but in its end is destruction and death. Verse 13, even in laughter the heart may ache, and the end of joy may be grief. The true heart of a person can be hidden by a facade of laughter. Pain can also exist in happiness. People are complex. People are hard to know. It's weird when you're dealing with things how you can be heartbroken and laugh. You can be just racked with pain at the loss of somebody that you care about, but then overjoyed with the memory of who they are and what they did. It's amazing how that can work within you. It's amazing how we can vacillate back and forth between all of these emotions that are going on within us all the time. And you can put on a pretty good front, but there's a sea that is brewing inside of you most of the time. We don't really know everything about how we feel. We're still trying to sort those things out. The best advice I can give you, though, is to find someone, preferably someone within your church, your body of believers, your local congregation, that you can share those things that you would not share with anyone else, that you can be honest with, that you can deal with those things that are hard for you. It is so good for you to have somebody that you can be honest and open and transparent with. It's so nice to be able to let down the guard with somebody. What I would not recommend doing is to do that with everybody. That's a dangerous thing. We do need to be a little bit guarded on some things. But find somebody that you can share that stuff with. Verse 14, The backslider in heart will be filled with the fruit of his ways, and a good man will be filled with the fruit of his ways. Following God or walking in wickedness will ultimately be revealed by the outcomes of your life. It's very easy to take a snapshot of what's happening right this second and decide how somebody is. The success or the failure of their life based on where they're at right now. Well, what this is saying is there are outcomes that are sometimes far off that will reveal who you actually are. It's not how you start this thing, it's how you finish it. That's a hard thing to think about. It's hard in marriage. It's hard in parenting. It's really hard in parenting. You ever really think about how hard it is to be a parent? Did anybody teach you how to be a parent? I remember when we had Amelia, we were going to be hardcore. We had set up her room. It was her room. And she was never sleeping in the room with us. Heaven forbid. And the first night we got home, we put her in her crib, and neither of us could walk out of the room. We just stood there like, okay, now what do we do? And we're like, wait a second, they sent this baby home with us? Are they insane? I had to drag the mattress off of our bed into her room and lay it on the floor, and that's where we slept. We got a bassinet the next night. But there's this amazing thing of how you make all these decisions and what you're going to do, and then you realize there's going to be things that I don't know until much later in their lives. There's going to be things that I think I blew it on that turned out okay. There's going to be things that I think turned out okay that I blew it on. The outcomes of our lives are going to be what reveals who we really are. It's not in a moment. Your life will not be defined in a moment. There are moments that you hate. I can guarantee you, every single one of you have moments in your life that you hate. Your life will not be defined by those moments unless you allow them to stack and stack and stack, and you continue in those moments. When you turn away from them, when you practice righteousness and you don't walk in wickedness, your life will be defined by that. The outcome of your life will be righteousness rather than wickedness. Verse 15, the simple believes everything, but the prudent gives thought to his steps. It is wise to test and evaluate. Walking blindly in foolishness is not a virtue. Being someone who's just bumping around in life, that's not virtuous. Consider what you're doing. Think about it. This doesn't mean to agonize. There's a difference, and it's a fine line sometimes, because it's very easy to agonize over every decision that you make. How many of you have a hard time making decisions? I was looking for Natalie. I love my wife, but I know that if I say, where do you want to eat for dinner, or what do you want to eat for dinner, that we probably will not eat dinner that night, because it's hard. Some people have a really hard time making decisions. I don't make it any easier because I'm just like, I will eat whatever. I don't care. There's chicken fingers everywhere. I can find something. But making decisions should not be something that you go into blindly and you just let the chips fall wherever they may. But it also should not be something that you just scrutinize and agonize. I had somebody share with me one time, and this changed a lot of things for me. I always thought of God's perfect will as this bullseye, and that if I missed ever any part of it, that I was just done, that there was no hope for me, that I was outside of it. And there were times where I was trying to make decisions. I called this person. I was like, hey, what do you think about this? What seems like God's will? And he's like, either way, you're good. He's like, if you choose to do this and you love God and you follow him in that, he's going to be glorified. And if you choose to do this, same thing. And I was like, whew, how does that work? We can get into the point where we're so worried about trying to make the right decision that we never make any decision. And we just pedal and pedal and pedal until we get to the end of our life and realize, I never did anything because I was always so worried. But you can also be someone who just blindly bumps into stuff, just falls into everything. And then you go, I don't know why everything in my life is always hard. It's because you're not putting any thought into what you're doing. It's a balance, and it is a fine line in how you balance that. But you do need to put some thought into it. You do need to think about what you're doing. Basically, don't let life just wash over you like a wave. Verse 16. One who is wise is cautious and turns away from evil. This goes right there with 15. Wisdom takes time to recognize danger and avoid it. It's wise to consider what's going on around you. It's wise to take thought about what you're doing. We have to be careful. I think in this day and age, it's much more common for us to be paralyzed by the inability to ever make a decision because we're so worried about all the outcomes. But that doesn't mean that we go the opposite way and just let the chips fall where they may. It's wise to evaluate what's going on. I spent a lot of my time as a young man very reckless, just going and doing, figuring out what would happen after it happened. I remember riding on a surfboard behind a jet ski in the river and deciding that I wanted to go and put my hand on one of the pylons on a dock. And I thought, well, I'll just figure it out when I get there. And I did. I was fine. I just, never had any problems. My friend did it and did the opposite, and it flung him off and I think just about broke his arm. There are these things that we can do where we can just be reckless in life, and it can cause you a lot of pain, a lot of problems. Take time and evaluate. Think through what you're doing. Sometimes the best thing to do that with is what you're going to say about something. Evaluate your words. Verse 17, a man of quick temper acts foolishly, and a man of evil devices is hated. Judgment is clouded by anger. Anger is a powerful emotion that, if left unchecked, will bring destruction. If you are a person who deals with anger, you don't have to raise your hand. Some of you probably have a quick temper. You blow up and then you're good. Something happens, you lose your temper, and then it's over. Some of you probably let things build up, and that fuse burns for a long time, and then you explode. Anger is a powerful emotion, and anger can be a good thing. There are things that happen in this world that we should be angry about, that are wrong and evil, and it is okay to be angry about that. But if you're a person who every time someone deals with you, you're angry, every time you go out to eat, you're angry with the hostess because they didn't do it fast enough or good enough or whatever, your food was never right, or every time you're in the car, you're losing your mind because somebody didn't follow the invisible traffic law in your brain. If that's who you are, you need to be cautious. You need to consider, what's the source of that anger? Is it just your own indignation of thinking that you're always right and everyone else is always wrong? Because if that's it, got to repent. Got to turn away from it. You can't live that way. What does it say? Bless you. A man of quick temper acts foolishly. You're going to be having to deal with your own consequences of your actions, but also a man of evil devices is hated. If you continue on in that anger constantly, if you let that overcome you, you will be hated and you will bring destruction. Verse 18, the simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. We must be intentional in our pursuit of wisdom. It's not the natural drift of your life towards wisdom. Have you noticed that? It's like thermodynamics, right? Everything tends towards disorder. If you've ever cleaned your room or mowed your lawn or straightened up your house or done anything, what happens in a day? Sundays are our day where the house gets destroyed. I don't know why. I think it's because everybody's in a hurry, but it's always been this way as long as I can remember. Everything on Monday, you're like, wow, what? Did we never clean our house? It's just one day, and it wrecks everything. It doesn't take long for things to move towards disorder. It doesn't take long for things to get wrecked. We have to be intentional about our pursuit. We have to think about what we want to be. We have to consider being wise people, because it won't just happen. If you're not learning how to be a wise person, it's not just going to happen to you. You have to be intentional about it. It's just like anger. If you're just letting it go and being unchecked in your anger all the time, you're not going to become a calm person. It doesn't just happen. You got to deal with it. We have to be intentional about who we want to be and what we want to do. Verse 19, the evil bow down before the good, and the wicked at the gates of the righteous. Righteousness will ultimately be vindicated. It may take time, but righteousness will ultimately be the victor. I see a lot of things in this world where unrighteousness, injustice seem to be ahead. But what we can know for a fact is that ultimately unrighteousness and wickedness will not succeed. Righteousness will ultimately prevail. Verse 20, the poor is disliked even by his neighbor, but the rich has many friends. That's a funny one, isn't it? I've been so poor in my life. It's really funny to think through some of those things. But you know, when you have a lot of friends is when you got a little bit extra money. When I grew up, we had jet skis and a boat and a pool and a summer kitchen and a dock. We had 2 docks and 2 boat ramps and it's like a Lamborghini and all kinds of stuff, just all kinds of stuff. And you know what I could do at any day that I wanted to? I could have a whole bunch of friends show up at my house. And I did all the time, good friends, and we spent a lot of good time together. You know, when you're poor, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to have people come and hang out with you, isn't it? People naturally elevate riches. They naturally elevate success in the world's eyes. This should not be the way that it is, but wealth will always bring favor, and the poor will always be unwelcome. We, as followers of Christ, should not fall into that same way of thinking. We should welcome the poor. We should really consider how it is that we do what we do. Remember in the book, is Jesus talking about like who you allow to come in and who gets the best seat and who's around and who's not around? You got to be careful about this stuff. If you allow every part of the way that you value things in this world to be dictated by the values of this world, what right do you have to claim Christ? What right do you have to say that ultimately you're His? Because ultimately you've been captured by this world and its ideas and values. We have to be careful. Verse 21, whoever despises his neighbor is a sinner. Blessed is he who is generous to the poor. This is the answer to verse 20, isn't it? Hatred will always reveal a sinful nature. God has called us to love. The very thing that should be just known about us as His people is that we love people. If you are a person that hates, it is revealing sin. It is revealing an unrepentant lifestyle, a desire to not trust and follow Him. It's like saying you can't continuously decide that everyone is you just hate them, or you hate a certain group or a certain group of people or whatever. But I'm loved and forgiven by Christ, and I'm called to walk in His example. But also, I just hate those people. Those two things can't be true. They don't work together, do they? We know these things, but we have to be careful about the values that we adopt. You are inundated at all times by the values and the system of this world. And if you do not intentionally train your mind and your heart in the wisdom of God rather than the wisdom of this world, you will be indoctrinated. You'll do exactly what they do. Verse 22. Says, do they not go astray who devise evil? Those who devise good meet steadfast love and faithfulness. Our intentions matter. When we seek good, we will produce love. What we do really matters, but why we do it matters even more. Our lives should produce something. What we say and what we do, how we devise things, how we think about it, what we're thinking about in just our life meaning, it really, really matters. If you're devising evil, it's going to be showcased in your life. Let's continue on. We're going to pick up the pace. 23, in all toil there is profit, but mere talk tends only to poverty. Work produces something. Don't be lazy. If you're only talking about it, nothing really is going to happen. I talked about raising chickens for meat. I wanted to have 50 chickens and do that over and over again. I talked about it for 5 years, and I never made it happen because there was always something that was just a little bit more important, something that was busy, whatever. But talking about it did what? It did not put any drumsticks on my smoker. I will tell you that. That I didn't have to buy. You know, you got to actually do the thing that you're talking about. Same thing is true of the church. We can talk till we're blue in the face about how we're going to reach people and who we need to talk to and how we want to serve our Father. But if we don't put some action behind it, it really doesn't mean anything, does it? Verse 24, the crown of the wise is their wealth, but the folly of fools brings folly. The folly of fools brings folly. I just said that all messed up. There's too many of these tonight. The crown of the wise is their wealth, but the folly of fools brings folly. Wisdom in and of itself is a crown on your life. It is the reward. Being a wise person is its own reward. Isn't that a weird thing? So often we want to do these things because we want to get something. We want this idea of wealth. He's saying that you being a wise person that influences the generation that comes after you and also those that are around you in wisdom and love, that is its own reward. I think about the reason why I homeschool my kids, the reason why I really care about how I'm parenting, the reason about why I want to be a good husband. It's not just so that I can have these certain things. I really don't, close your ears. I really don't care about how successful my kids are. I don't want to have this thing where I get to brag on them and what they do and all their accomplishments. I want them to be good people, right? That would be its own reward. Having wisdom, considering who you are, being that person that you want to affect for those generations to come and the people around you, that's its own reward. Don't make everything about a brag. Don't make everything about wealth. Don't make everything about a reward. Remember that just doing what you're called to be doing, just being a wise person who loves people, that's its own reward. A truthful witness, verse 25, saves lives, but one who breathes out lies is deceitful. Truth is life-giving, and lies bring destruction. Lies Dishonesty is always bad. I mean, I don't know how much more you can say this, but he says it over and over again throughout the book of Proverbs. Lies are always bad. Always, across the board, no matter what. There's an old Chinese Proverbs that says, lies are like tigers. They're bad. Like, you just have to understand that. You're never going to have good outcomes through deceit. It's always bad. Verse 26, in the fear of the Lord one has a strong confidence, and his children will have a refuge. We can stand in confidence no matter what when we fear the Lord. Verse 27 kind of echoes this. The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, that one may turn away from the snares of death. The fear of the Lord brings life and joy. The fear of the Lord, walking in that, it brings life. It is a fountain of life. It's not enough just to say, I'm trying to be a good person, or I'm trying to do this. It's that you want to walk in the fear of the Lord, that you put Him as the main thing in your life, that how you live your life you consider not in your own wisdom, not in your own ways, not in the ways of this world, but in what He has called and said is good, what He has called you to do in this world, period. There's no fear in that. There's no worry. There will be a day where you will stand before the King of everything, and He will judge justly, and you can stand in confidence because you walked in fear of the Lord. That's a bold statement. It's a pretty wild statement when you really think about it. Verse 28 says, in a multitude of people is the glory of a king, but without people a prince is ruined. You cannot be the king of nobody. Having people follow you demonstrates your leadership. If you're a leader and you don't have anybody that you're leading, you're not a leader. I mean, that's just the reality. You want to be someone who's leading people to where they want to go. You need to be displaying something in your life that calls other people to say, I want to do that as well. That's what leadership is. It's not just saying, I got the ticket, I'm the person, whatever. A king, it says, I'll make sure I say it right. The multitude of people is the glory of a king, but without a people, a prince is ruined. You got to have those people that are being willing to follow you in order to actually be a leader. Verse 29, whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who is a hasty temper exalts folly. I mean, we've talked about this again. Patience reflects understanding. Being quick to anger exposes foolishness. Verse 30, a tranquil heart gives life to the flesh, but envy makes bones rot. Peace in life affects everything, even our health. Have you ever really, peace in your life will affect this? I mean, it affects. I remember when I found out Natalie was pregnant with Adeline, we were in a not a great financial situation. We were in a lot of stress in our life in general. And then when we found out that we were going to have another baby, I started having these problems with my skin on my hands. Have you ever had fish and you have ick? You know what that is? It was like that. I was like, it was just the stress that was within me manifesting itself in my skin. It affects you. If you stress yourself, if you allow yourself to just be worried all the time, it affects everything about you. It affects your outlook, but it also affects your actual physical body. Whoever oppresses the poor, verse 31, whoever oppresses a poor man insults his maker, but he who is generous to the needy honors him. The idea here is that you look at people by their value in being made in the image of God rather than their value by what they can produce or offer you. It's like saying, I think I'll make sure I wrote this down. The way that you treat someone who has nothing to offer you demonstrates that your view of the Creator. the way that you treat those who cannot pay you back, the way that you treat those who don't have anything to offer you, they can't get you ahead in life, the way that you treat them will demonstrate the way that you view the Creator. How you treat His creation demonstrates how you view Him. Verse 32, the wicked is overthrown through his evil doing, but the righteous finds refuge in his death. Wickedness always brings destruction. Righteous people have peace even in death. The thing that terrifies the wicked does not bother the righteous. The thing that terrifies everyone, we can stand in the midst of. We cannot worry about. That's a weird thing to think through. Verse 33, wisdom rests in the heart of a man of understanding, but it makes itself known even in the midst of fools. Wisdom reveals itself over time without being loud or boisterous. Wisdom doesn't have to bust in the door like the Kool-Aid man and say, everyone look at me and how smart I am. Wisdom is revealed in your life. It's showcased over time in the decisions that you make, in what you value, and how you treat people. It doesn't have to tell everybody how wise it is. It shows it. In verse 34, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. The righteous will create a better society. Sin is the destruction of a nation. It's just like kind of a common idea, isn't it? If you live as a righteous person, you will be an asset to the country, the nation, the society, the city, wherever you live. You will be an asset to it. You will bring glory to it. But if you live in sin, you'll be the destruction. It's as the people go, so goes the rest of the nation. I always thought, like the church especially, was this monolithic thing that just existed and it didn't really matter. But there came this understanding to me that the church is me, and that if I don't like the way that the church exists and what it's doing, that the problem is not everybody else, the problem is right here. I have to change, and I have to allow myself to do what it is that I'm supposed to be doing so that I can see that outcome around me. Otherwise, I'm just going to be a complainer, basically. Verse 35, the last one. We made it, guys. We're there. A servant who deals wisely has the king's favor, but his wrath falls on the one who acts shamefully. Faithfulness in wisdom brings favor. Isn't that just like a common thing to understand? Faithfulness in wisdom. Just continuing on to do what it is that you're called to do. Being the right person to do whatever it is. Being wise and caring about whatever it is, even if that's just pushing a broom, or if that's fixing a car, or that's running a company, or that's mending nets, no matter what, that the way that you do your life, it will bring favor. It may not be immediate, and it may not be the thing that you want, but you will be somebody that people think of when they think of righteousness and wisdom. Somebody that's walking in the way that they're supposed to be doing things. If you want to be somebody that other people come to for advice, if you want to be somebody who is considered like, hey, they're the standard, they're the example, they're the person that I want to be like, walk in righteousness. Be faithful in wisdom. This whole passage, I mean this whole book, the whole book, but especially this whole chapter, I want to read this first thing once again, and then we'll be dismissed. Wisdom is not simply what a person knows, but the path they walk, the words they speak, the fruit their life produces. It's knowledge that is applied. It's not how much you know, it's what you do with what you know. It's how you live this life. It really, really matters. Let's pray. Father, thank you once again for allowing us to, Lord, even quickly, just go through the wisdom that you have for us, to think through it, to consider what it means. Lord, I pray that you would make us a people of righteousness, of wisdom, a people that are cautious, but also courageous. Those that are willing to, Lord, be honest and truthful even if it costs us. They're willing to be faithful in righteousness, Lord, no matter what. Lord, I pray that you would demonstrate your love, your character, and your goodness through us. And Lord, that as we think about these principles that you've laid out for us about what it looks like to be a righteous person, a person that is in your kingdom, that represents you well, Lord, ultimately a person of wisdom, Lord, that would be something that would affect those that are around us and our families, our children, our grandchildren, our husbands, our wives, Lord, our cities, our governments, our church, Lord, everything. Let us actually be what it is that we want to see. And Lord, I pray that it would all be because of who you are. It's in the name of Jesus I pray.